NerdandSon.
I'm Son. I'm Connor. That's Nerd. That's Ralph. And together we bring you hard-hitting news. How to GM sometimes, and how to effectively communicate with your players. If you want to get a hold of us to give us more ideas, please. You can go down to the description. And while you're down in the description, looking for that link tree to get in touch with us, you can check out the subscribe button and ringing that bell. All that business. Unless you're on, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other place you get your podcasts.
Yep.
But with that, I have had a pretty easy week.
And how easy was your week?
Not prepping, which means that it's time for Dad's prep. And let's see. And he has brought us down below, into the ground, deeper than the dwarves dig, to the Underdark.
Yes, so very true. So very true. So, and this is a nice new thing that we are actually doing, because making it a little bit easier, because we're taking turns doing the recordings and the prep every week, and it's actually been a lot easier. But he is absolutely right. This week we are talking about the Underdark, and there is a lot to know about the Underdark. So, are you ready?
I suppose.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter if I'm ready or if you're ready. What matters is that the audience at home is ready.
I think they're ready.
Well, if you're not ready, press the pause button, because we're going. Chugga chugga choo choo. We're on the tracks. We're moving.
That we are. Okay. So this episode, we are. I'm already messing up the speech here. I'm doing great.
Get you go.
We're continuing our series of the environmental series, talking about all the different environments that we can campaign and play in. And this week we are going to be talking about the Underdark. Okay. And to me, the Underdark is probably the most exciting place, because of all the different possibilities and everywhere it can actually lead to you. And a lot of my campaigns, we spent quite a bit of time in the actual Underdark. So, but what is the Underdark on here? And let's take a look at it just from history. Let's talk about the most recent thing that I particularly saw. You got your Godzilla and Kong.
Yep.
The new empire. And we're just talking about the Inner Earth.
Yep, just anything that has to do with underground, I don't know what else would be considered,
Well, I'm just trying to get from the cultures and stuff like that, because you got ideas like Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost, your Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yep.
I think there were rumors that they're gonna go into the Marvel underground area in the new Fantastic Four movie. There were rumors about it.
Okay.
Either that or it's just wild speculation from somebody.
I think that's just gonna be wild speculation. That's different.
Because I'm pretty sure Galactus is already cast.
Yeah, I think so. So you know what? Let us go ahead and cast Galactus, but let's take place the entire movie underground.
Yes, there we go.
That makes perfect sense. Okay.
That's right, because everybody was upset that Silver Surfer was a girl.
Yeah. I don't know. Silver Surfer has been a lot of people. Okay? The Herald of Galactus, not necessarily Silver Surfer, but yeah, Thor recently has been the Herald of Galactus.
Yeah, well, you're a nerd. You know these things.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd about other things. That's not my area of expertise.
Okay, but to get back into more pop culture, when you're talking about places and lands underground, just talking about being lost in caves, you got the movie Descent. And this is going to be more like what we deal with when you have creatures underground that are kind of hunting you, hiding, and everything too. So lots of different movies, lots of different cultures and stuff like that. But the main ones we deal with is role-playing and Dungeons and Dragons. So,
and we deal with it in real life with the lizard people and the mole men that control the government from underground.
Yes, I forgot about this, but I was told not to speak about it.
Well, it's too late.
Okay.
You're going to get swatted.
Yeah, I'm going to get swatted now, so yeah, that's going to be interesting. Oh, okay. So let's just talk about the underground and basically the world and the role-playing aspects that you can do in the areas that are underneath the feet, because normally you're just talking about your wilderness, your deserts, you got your oceans, forests, everything like that, but the world underground is just as vast as it is above ground. So, and depending on how deep you actually go, like for example, in your standard D&D Greyhawk world, you're gonna have like the first layer that's underground is called the Shallows. And this is a region of the Underdark that describes the layers, and it has tunnels and caverns that go to about 2 miles total below the world surface. Okay? So it kind of gives you an idea of how far down, and this is where you're going to get a lot of interaction with creatures. You're still going to have access to fresh air, entrances, exits, and everything like that too. So
there might even be light.
It depends on where it is. That is absolutely true. So underneath that, okay, is an area called the Deep. And this extends for many miles, which seems to be much more extensive and deeper than the actual Shallows. Okay? Just kind of gives you an idea. There's not really a set mileage area or size of this. It's just a lot deeper than the Shallows.
Your mileage may vary.
Exactly. Okay? And besides the Shallows and the Deep, you also have what they call the Echoes. Okay? Because you have the Feywild and the Shadowfell, okay, which seems to be kind of the opposites of the actual world and the Fey world and everything too. Those are actually called the Feydark and the Shadowdark. Okay. So you have their kind of like equivalents and everything to that.
But down in the Echoes, it's kind of like the like barriers between the world are kind of wobbly, right?
They are. If you actually get a little bit lower than that, I mean, the Echoes are just the extensions of the Feywild and the Shadowfell that represent the Deep and the Shallows in the main material plane. Okay, but when you get actually lower than the Deep, you have an area. They call it like the Empire of Madness, okay? As sort of like an empire of your aberrations and everything like that. But basically, this area is the deepest, darkest place in the Underdark. The substance of reality phrased and degrades, okay? And dealing with that and the jagged nothingness in those places where the world actually kind of breaks down and the far realm breaks through.
Okay.
So you have your layers of just your regular caves, caverns. You got your deep dark where you got your dwarves mining really super deep. And then you go way too deep. You start getting into where the far realm breaks through and you get your weird aberrations and everything else too. So the deeper down you get, the more weirder it does. Okay. So that's kind of your standard D&D kind of overview on the geography of the different layers. And with some of the other campaign worlds that are out there, like for example, and this is something I'm not that knowledgeable on, is the Eberron campaign. Okay? Came out with 4th edition there. But their area underneath your feet and everything is called the Kyber. Okay? And the Kyber's area beneath Eberron is said to be the embodiment of one of the progenitor dragons that created the world of Eberron. Okay?
Let me see if I can find it.
Now,
I had it open a little bit ago.
Oh, okay. With the Eberron thing?
Yeah.
Now, basically, the Kyber Okay, it's a massive subterranean realm that is filled with fiends,
Oh, there it is.
aberrations,
Mhm.
Dakir, overlords, and other monsters. While the upper layers of the Kyber are stone and dirt, the lower levels are a vast array of demiplanes and all sorts of creatures where all the worlds kind of mash together.
Absolutely. If you want to know, for 5th edition, it's literally just from here, and then it goes down
Yeah.
to here. And then it's, talking about its influence in Corvair, and then that's it. Like that's literally it.
Yeah.
Like you get a page and a half.
Yeah, you don't get much description or anything on that. And I was going through what I was able to find as an overview for 4th edition. So there's not much on that too. So I know there's been some expansion, some campaigns, but the Underdark as an actual realm in role playing seems to be in a world I'm most familiar with, and that's going to be Faerun, which Toril, and that's going to be the Forgotten Realms.
Yep.
Okay. This is where I've had most of my knowledge. This is where I've done most of my gaming. So this is where I'm most familiar with, and with the amount of books out there that actually talk about the Underdark in the Forgotten Realms campaign, and where I've actually pulled a lot of my sources here. Sources is
my sources tell me that this is even deeper than where we send you to go sleep with the fishes.
Yes. So, but here we got Drizzt Do'Urden's Guide to the Underdark. Okay, that's just one of my books that I actually pulled for that. I have 2nd edition, Drow of the Underdark.
Ooh.
Okay. So I have another 4th edition, Drow of the Underdark.
Wow.
Art book. Okay. I pulled a little bit of information from Expedition to the Demon Web Pits.
Okay.
So nice there. Okay. This would be 3rd edition, Forgotten Realms, just a book called Underdark.
Just Underdark.
Underdark, yes. Okay. A D&D source book called the Catacombs Guide.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I got a bunch of these source books. Really, really nice 2nd edition. I have a lot of description of these things that you don't get as well in some of the later editions. Some of the later editions to me have a lot more fluff to it. These are basically just hardcore stats. This is what it is. This is a description. So I kind of like those books. Plus, I have a couple of these books, and this is a 3.5 supplement called Dungeon World. And then this one in particular is Dungeon World Catacombs.
All right.
That I pulled that information out of. So lots of different books that I currently have. Plus, I do have a PDF I bought of the 4th edition book just called Underdark itself. As a big old mind flayer on the front of it.
Just everything. Just every book about the Underdark, you got it.
Yeah, there's a lot of repeating information, especially between the editions between 3, 4, and 5 that I was reading.
Absolutely.
But there's also a lot of other information inside the books itself. So okay, but let's go ahead and we'll start off with the geography of the Forgotten Realms and the areas like we did the other one, okay? You have the first layer, the upper layer, which is called the Upper Dark, okay? And this extends the surface to a depth of about 3 miles, okay?
Okay.
This is where the majority of a lot of the different campaigns and everything you do if you venture from the surface area into the Underdark, that's where they're going to kind of extend to. This is also where you're going to have like the upper races and the lower races kind of mingle, do their trade, do their fighting, all that kind of stuff too. So that's kind of what you're going to see there. Now, below that is the area called the Middle Dark. Okay, and this lies roughly between 3 and 10 miles beneath the surface of Faerun. Okay, and the Middle Dark is basically where you're going to find the majority of the major underground cities. Okay,
you got your Drow, you've got your
Dugar.
Draugr,
Yep,
you've got your Dwerger, whatever the gnome ones are.
Oh, mine just went completely blank. But yes, I actually have some of that. We're going to talk about that stuff later. So I've kind of left this a little general just because we want to talk about building campaigns and running campaigns instead of a specific one. because you
Yeah,
can do this
absolutely.
in different worlds, or you take what we talk about, like for example here in the Forgotten Realms, use it in your own world. So that's kind of what I want to kind of stay with here. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because a lot of these things, it's very general, so that you can, it's applicable to so many different games and everything, so that you could just pick it up, plop it in anywhere, and it'll
Right.
just work. So,
And that's the way you need to actually do it. Even though I played the majority of my game in the Forgotten Realms, okay, I took bits and pieces off of other game systems and everything and
mhm.
actually incorporated them because, yeah, take what you like, use it the way you want to, and then you kind of go from there. Okay. But after you get under the middle dark, you have underneath that what they call the lower dark. Okay.
You mean
And
lower
this,
dark
the,
under the middle dark? That's crazy.
yes, you got the upper, lower, and then middle dark. I'm sorry, upper dark, middle dark, and then lower dark. Okay, and this level, the Underdark, sits roughly 10 miles below the surface to unfathomable depths. Okay,
Okay.
and this kind of features a degree of strangeness that would basically drive most surface dwellers insane. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason being is some of the hardcore creatures like your illithids,
Mhm.
aboleths, a whole bunch of things that kind of are just the weirdness of the weird, your aberrations and everything like that, are in this area for the majority of that too.
Mhm.
Okay? And also in the lower dark, you're going to have a lot of connections and a lot of portals to the shadow plane. Okay? And they're just called, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ones to the different planes of shadow. You're going to have some of them to the other planes of existence, okay, to whatnot
Okay.
and everything like that. But those are going to be the lowest of the lows. So you can kind of make it really, really strange. Okay, but that's going to be
Okay.
your roughly your geography on the levels of the Underdark on that. Okay, so now from here, we're not really going to talk about what level that we're in. We're just going to talk
Yeah.
overall the kind of stuff that you can actually
Just
do.
general. Yeah.
Yeah, because let's talk about some of your environments that you're going to see. And you're going to find these environments in all the different levels
Mhm.
here, okay? And I had to actually define this word. I know what the word is, and I assume it just being one way, but I wanted to make sure to define it. And the word is in this environment is your abyss or your abysses.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I stared into the abyss, and the abyss stared back at me.
yes, but if you ask that, how many people actually know what an abyss is? What's the
Um,
actual definition? Because
Deep dark hole.
I asked myself that, and I'm like, okay, I'm just staring into blackness. Yes, but no. Okay. Basically,
Mhm.
abyss, definition wise, is a very deep white space or holes that seem to have no bottom.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, it's just the visual idea of having no limit, no bottom, or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to call an abyss.
Mhm.
Okay. Also, too, you're going to have your standard caves and caverns.
I would hope we'd have caves and caverns.
I mean, no real kind of difference, nothing fancy or anything like that. And they come in all shapes, sizes, whatnot. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
turned
you have your
consistent as well.
stalagmites and stalactites
Exactly.
and your columns.
Yes. Okay. Now, in those caves and caverns, you're going to have some that are called like a dead cave or a dry cave, and all that
Okay.
is basically a cave that has no water.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds kind of basic, but yeah, there's actually a difference in the reasons in the cave, and when you're designing it, it does kind of make a difference. Okay, and besides your caves and caverns, you're going to have a lot of your dungeons actually reach down into like your upper level.
Way down, like way, way down. That's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. So now you do have a section of your caves and caverns called like a gallery. Okay, and basically what a gallery is just mostly a horizontal chamber.
Okay.
Okay. Now, besides those, you're going to have big, huge gorges.
Gorgeous.
Yes. So you're going
Oh,
to
thanks.
have. So, So there's not much difference in the above world. Same thing as a gorge you have in the lower world, except you got a rocky roof over top of you.
Yeah,
that's really the only difference. Okay, and then underground also you're going to have lakes, huge lakes sometimes. Okay,
big old lakes with weird looking hobbit-like creatures.
Yes. Okay. Or you can go down to the bottom of the lake and find your Mandalorian creature or your Mandalorian god. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, if it's spoiler now, how old is it? It's like a year and a half old, 2 years?
Something crazy.
So, yeah. Not a spoiler. Sorry. Anyway, if you're nerd enough to watch this stuff, you've already seen it.
All right. Hold on.
I'm going to assume that.
Give me a second. We're going to stop right here for a second, and I'm going to say something, and then I need you to add this to the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready? The following may contain a spoiler for The Mandalorian. If you have not seen The Mandalorian Season 3, then keep watching, because you'll find out what happens, if you haven't already. All right.
Okay. So I'll have to cut and move that around. Not a problem.
Snip, snip, snip.
Okay.
Snip, snip.
So, besides your lakes and stuff, here you also have what you call your live or wet caves. And those are basically caves that just don't have water.
Well, I would assume so, since a dead or dry cave is no water.
Yes. And here's the thing, a lot of these terms I'm talking here are kind of basic, or you're like, well, why? These don't really seem interesting. But when you're designing it or you're dealing with these things and coming across stuff in your adventure, these things do play a part, and you kind of want to know how to describe these things or what these look like and everything, so you can describe those to everybody. So now another type of cave that you can have is what they call an ossuary. Okay, and all that is a cave filled with bones.
Does it matter what put the bones in there?
Ostriches. Which is an ostrich-wearing. I'm sorry, no.
Ostrich-wearing. Yeah, isn't an ossuary where they keep ostriches?
Yes, that's it. No, it's just a big cave of bones. Like, if you're going miles underground and then all of a sudden you open up into a large cavern and it's completely filled with giant bones, you're like, oh, well, something brought the bones here. Well, something's eating something here. So yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's called an ossuary.
Metal as hell.
So, and also besides your like gorges, you're going to have big rifts in the earth, where the earth your Underdark kind of split.
It's fantasy, so you gotta like do what you can. You gotta do like, you gotta take your regular things and you just gotta.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's fantasy, so you gotta take your regular things and you gotta just like exaggerate them, make them like incredibly big, make them way bigger than like you have to. Like if you think there's gonna be a small split in the ground because of an earthquake, that thing's 10 miles wide now.
Exactly. It's fantasy
because you can. It's fantasy. You can.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing too. Besides your rifts, you can have your big fantasy rivers that are flowing through everything. So it could be as wide as a mighty Mississippi, or it can be slow and winding like your river Styx. It can be a lot of different things, okay? And then also, too, just talking about size-wise, besides your rivers, lakes, and stuff like that, you can have entire seas down here.
Yep, absolutely. So if you're talking about having whole second worlds and stuff, you have your like seas and such.
Yeah,
it's all down there.
And you can have you have your normal Shahagan and everything like that. Just say like you have your white skinned blind Shahagan down here.
Yep.
Do something like that.
Axolotl Shahagan.
Yes.
Shahagan.
All right. So, and besides that, I mean, you're going to have like deep, dark shafts that's just going to run through the ground. Don't know what they are. Yeah. You're going to have, it's basically with like your river stuff, you're going to have like natural springs.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. You got your regular tunnels.
Yep.
You could have hidden vaults that's been down here that's been tunneled by the dwarves and just left to hold something. Okay?
Yep.
And also
and maybe the thing that it's supposed to hold is still there.
Yes. And maybe the thing is...
Or maybe...
The thing is there to protect it is still there.
Or maybe something moved in after it was emptied.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also, too, besides just the down thinking it's just dark, lonely, empty, you could actually be underneath a volcano. So then you're dealing with rivers of lava. You're dealing with steam vents. Volcanoes.
I'm sorry. I have to stop you.
Okay.
It's not lava. It's magma.
Yes, you are correct. Lava is on the surface. Magma is under the ground.
We're talking about the Underdark.
Yes.
Glad we cleared that up.
I have been corrected. Now
you can have rivers, lakes, and seas of magma. Almost got me.
So, but yeah. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing there. And just take what you've seen in pictures and everything like that, and then design ideas and everything around that too. So, the other things that you're going to actually find, besides and living within these environments, okay? Like, for example, in your huge caves and caverns, you can have complete underground cities. Okay?
Yep,
I mean, you can have your dwarven cities, which are kind of built into the side. You have your some of your Dugar cities, sorry. Dwergar, I apologize.
I don't know.
Some of those cities and everything that they make, you can probably pass within feet of thousands of people and not even know it. Okay? Because they have hidden, and it's just built like natural caves and caverns and everything like that too. So
absolutely.
Very, very interesting place. And lots of different ideas, because I mean, if you're going to talk about drow, you're going to have your spider web cities, and they could all be hanging off of stalactites up top. Okay, you're going to have your standard areas like your Mesobarian, and you can kind of design it any way that you want to.
Yep, absolutely.
So, we're going there too. Now, let's talk about some of the issues that you're going to have when you're actually traveling. Okay? And I'm going to make sure I'm going to read this all in order here. Okay?
Yep.
Lots and lots of notes. Okay? Let's talk about your light sources.
Yep.
Okay? A couple different kind of light sources you can have. You can just have your artificial, so you don't have your basically tinderbox and torch. Flint and tinderbox, light it up. Okay? You're going to have your natural lighting in the Underdark, which could be just luminescent growth. Okay?
But just like we talked about in the underwater episode, if something in the dark is light, it probably is trying to draw something near it.
Yes, exactly.
So be careful.
Yes, and then
or
also
set that up as some kind of, trap for your players.
Yeah, you can do something like that too. But also too, you can make the caverns as light as you want to. Give you an idea, because we talked about in our underwater campaign, like when you watch the Aquaman movie, okay? You can see how bright the underwater areas is, and the city and everything like that. You can have the Underdark in your campaign look just as bright, but use the lichen, use different things in there too that kind of grow it.
Just place a glowstone.
Yes. Okay. And I mean, being like you say with a glowstone, you can have what they call radiant crystals.
Yep.
Okay, that kind of shart a natural life. You can have reflective stones that reflect the light really nicely around there too. Plus, all your molten rock could be a source of light also. Okay?
Your magmas.
Your magma. So, and then besides light, you can have your magical. So you can have your wizard casting his magical light, dancing lights, whatever you want to. Okay? But one thing that you're really going to be aware of...
magic missile at the darkness.
I cast magic missile. I have that recorded someplace. I will drop that in here, definitely.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast magic missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells He hasn't cast anything yet.
I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
Fine.
Okay, so with that, one thing you got to take care of too, and from a design aspect as a dungeon master, and the players should know that when you have a light source, like what you're saying, it kind of draws them in, but the light source is radiance, okay? Creatures can see that roughly 20 times as far as your light can actually see from your light.
Absolutely. And that's something to keep in mind, in any dark environment, especially the Underdark, is that if you can see, things can see you.
Exactly. They will be able to see you long before you see them. Okay.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is that it's easy to forget that. But also, it's also a reflex as a player to, as soon as the DM says, oh, well, you are in darkness, oh, I have dark vision, or to do things. But it can also be just as, if not more exciting, to try to handle that setback and allow the darkness to be a setback that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
And to allow your character to have flaws, such as not being able to see in darkness, like a lot of fantasy races have. If you're a human and you can't see, that presents extra challenges, which can be fun to try to overcome.
Right.
In various ways.
That is too. And like we were saying, with your natural vision, with your dark vision, your dark sight, you can also have a character that actually has like tremor sense. Okay. Use like that kind of stuff. Yes, exactly. Exactly like Toph. The best character ever. She was awesome. Sorry. Best character. Okay.
That's true.
And that's from Avatar: The Last Bit of Airbender, if you don't know. But yes.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it instead of this.
No, after this. After this. Okay.
I'm sorry, I respect Avatar too much.
Yeah. You guys grew up on that. It was just great.
It is one of the only things that I will consider a perfect show.
Yeah, just about. Okay. But also with the light and making that more of a hindrance and everything, try to make it real, is having to deal with complete darkness. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I know I've taken your brother down to, I'm trying to think how many, because I can't remember stuff like that. Did you actually go to Mammoth Cave? I know me and your brother went.
Because I know what you're talking about, and I don't think I did, but I do remember we went in Texas, we went to the caves out there.
Yes, but did they turn it into, they didn't turn all the lights off, did they?
They did at one point.
Okay. I see. I
know
remember.
I've done that before. I've done these before where like every single cave thing you go on, at one point you get to the bottom and they turn off the lights.
Yeah, because if you haven't done some of these cave tours, and give you an idea, if we're talking about Mammoth Cave that we go down to, there's an area that we go down to for the long, deep cave where it's I can't remember the name of it too, but you go down the steps, like 220 steps that they built in through this sinkhole, get down to the bottom, they group up, and then they actually show, hey, just let you know, if you've never experienced total dark, this is total darkness, and you're 300-400 feet underground, and they shut off all the lights, and it is a darkness that you have never really seen. I mean, you can have all your lights out at night and everything like that in your house, your curtains drawn, but that's not the same darkness. There's still a little light. When they turn the lights out and they let it out for a minute or about a minute, I guess, then probably not even that long. It probably seems longer than what it actually is. Yeah, there is nothing.
It's oppressive, the darkness.
Yes.
And it feels heavy.
Exactly. And it's weird too when you're walking through the cave. So if you've never been through caves, go just experience it. because that gives you a real good idea of way it would be when you're adventuring. But you see some of these rocks and some of the limestone caves where the water's kind of carved everything out, but you see areas where they just fall, and you're just like, that's a lot of rock that's above you.
Yep.
And even though they can say, well, you got about 300 to 600 feet, you're 300 to 600 feet below the surface. How many people can actually put that in perspective of how deep that is? That's actually kind of hard to do.
It is really hard to do.
So, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a lot of weight and a lot of rock and a lot of space between you and the surface. I don't know, but it's very, very cool. But yeah, that's part of my favorite part. I actually love going through that cave, especially that one specifically at Mammoth. And doing that. That is great. One of my favorite things. So, but yes, light is a big, big problem. Because you got to take a look when you're traveling and you're doing the caves. You're not just going, okay, well, I'm going to go to the cave and then I get to stop and then we'll go back up to the surface for sleep.
Yeah.
No. When you're doing an Underdark campaign, you are there for the long haul. For days, time in.
Yep.
So, okay. The other thing you got to really take care of is, let's talk about air.
Yep.
Okay. This can be something that you kind of either want to take account of as you're traveling and how deep it you go, or you can kind of wave it off, depending on your kind of game, if you really wanted to make it a hindrance or not to your people. But basically, the farther you get away from the surface, the less fresh the air actually is. Okay? Like, for example, when you get to the middle dark, especially in some of the lower areas of the upper dark, your air in areas is going to be considered poor, where it is stale.
It's hard to breathe.
Yeah, it's just hard because the air hasn't moved. It's just thick. And I know there's places I don't know. If you've ever gone into an old house that hasn't been opened up in a while, and you walk into it and it had no airflow, it has a stale feel to it, smell, almost like a taste. Okay, that's kind of it. But this is going to be for quite a while. I mean, surrounding you constantly down here. Or you can get to an area where the air is just depleted. You just don't have enough airflow.
Yeah,
at all. So it's going to be
extremely
extremely hard
all
to
of
breathe.
the good stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very hard to breathe. Okay. The other thing that you're going to have to actually deal with on an airflow basis is you got to think you're going to have your volcanoes, you're going to have your tubes of steam, gases, and everything like that trying to escape out. So you're going to have irritating fumes and smells. I mean,
Absolutely.
have you ever been to a place where you smell pure sulfur?
Yes.
Okay, that's a horrible smell.
Yes, it is.
So you can actually have that. Okay. The other thing is besides your noxious smells like that, you can have like poison gases. Okay, and some of these gases that you're smelling and filled full of, they could actually be explosive.
Yep.
Yeah. So now, depending on your light source can
Hopefully
light every bit of air.
Hopefully your wizard doesn't cast fireball.
And besides that, you got to smell burnt hair now. There you go.
Yep.
But yeah, so you kind of got to be careful of all that kind of things when you're traveling and traversing. So,
and it's definitely interesting things that you can have in your back pocket as things to worry about.
Yeah. And what makes it harder is if you been doing this for a while, you're kind of familiar with your Underdark and traveling and what you need on that. But if you're a party that for some reason has been captured, let's say captured by Drow, taken to a Drow city, you guys escape. What do you guys do now? You just don't have your supplies. You have no idea where you're going. Everything like that.
No idea. Yeah, you're lost.
Right.
Absolutely.
You don't have the experience. It kind of makes it a lot more interesting. So, excuse me.
All right.
So,
before we move on,
yeah,
you want to take a break because we're at 2 pages now.
Not a problem. Let's go ahead and we'll take a break and we'll be back here in just a moment.
Hi guys! If you want to take a break from role-playing and watch someone burn their face off while eating hot peppers, head on over to YouTube at 13 Peppers and like and subscribe. And if you want to grow these peppers yourself, you can actually purchase these seeds at 13peppersbyralph.com. With that, have a good day.
And we are back. Okay. So besides all that fun stuff that we've been talking about just over the environment and stuff, let's go ahead and move to a couple other things. Let's talk about plants and fungi.
Yeah, we're fun guys. Good
We're
party
wild
time.
and crazy guys. Sorry.
Whoa.
Okay. Bad. That was bad. That was bad. And that's on camera. That's awesome. Alright. So besides that,
You gotta go whole hard. You gotta just fucking go all in on it.
I did. And I will pay the price with people pointing and laughing. Oh well.
Hey, that's more engaging.
Yes. So please give me your comments below at how bad that was.
Comment below.
Okay, plants and fungi. So you're going to have like your standard mosses. So there are all different colored mosses out there. They can be glowing. They can be however you want to. They can be like living and moving. Kind of design it the way you want to. Same thing with lichen. It's trying to stick to the rocks. Whatever you want to do. Have lots of that. Mushrooms. Okay? You're going to have tons of mushrooms over that. You're going to have mushroom farms for like food.
Yep, absolutely. Because that's all you can eat.
Oh, there's lots more to eat than just that.
Well, there's lots more to eat, but like plant-wise, like as far as like plants that can grow underground, you know.
Yes.
That's going to be a major one that will grow without, you know, you having to like have the sunlight and everything.
Exactly. And that's one thing you do, because in the upper dark, that's one thing to do, because you're going to have different groups from the Underdark raid the above ground for food.
Yep.
They can actually trade back and forth for goods, minerals, everything like that too. So you're going to have a lot more food sources. When the farther you get down, the harder it is going to be have those food sources. And that's where you're going to get your creatures that actually make you the food source.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's there. And then also too, besides just your basic plants, fungus, kind of make up your own bizarre plants. Okay? That just live underground or whatever. They can be poisonous, they can be non-toxic, anything you want to. I mean, the world is your oyster. The world is your cavern oyster.
The world is your Venus flytrap.
Exactly. You can actually do a mushroom-laden Venus flytrap. There you go. But yeah, kind of make it your own. I mean, you can have your artificial lichen and moss light up this chamber that is the floor is all covered with moss and mushrooms and everything, and it's almost like soggy as you walk on it. And you got to be careful of like bogs and being able to sink into a bog. That'd be different for a cave. It's not what your standard you think of when you walk in caves, but hey, this is the Underdark. Whole bunch of different ideas. And let's talk about just your basic creatures you're going to have underneath here. Okay? You're going to have your bats. Yeah, of course. You're going to have like your blind fish. Okay? And I always think those are cool looking, especially when they're showing those off down at like Mammoth Cave when we're down there.
Yep.
You're going to have like your lizards. They're going to slide around. A lot of them are going to be blind and albino just because they don't need anything for their skin. They don't need pigments. So they're just going to be white and blind.
And that means that you can have, you know, if they're blind, you could have them all be echolocation. So you cannot have a silent cave. You can have that be incredibly loud with the sounds of echolocation happening.
Exactly. And some of the animals who do use echolocation, instead of it being silent, it could be of basically a frequency that just drives you batty. How's that one? So, now, the other thing that's going to be down here too, especially when we're talking about a food source, is you're going to have your Roath. Okay?
Let me look this up. I've never seen this.
You've never seen these? Basically, they're underground bison. Okay? Yeah. And these are basically farmed and sourced by Drow and a bunch of other races Underdark. In the Underdark.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that was. Oh, that's what that was in you can come across these in Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that gives you now you know what they are. There's your meat animals there. Okay.
Yep.
So now let's talk about hazards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the first and foremost, the most important thing, when you're traveling in the Underdark, anything can kill you.
Everything wants to kill you.
Everything. It's not a happy place. Okay, you're not going to go, hey, how you doing, and pass people by. No, it don't work that way. Not at all. Okay, some of the things you're going to have to deal with. Okay, slimes and molds. Okay, we're talking about your moss and lichen, but yeah, you're going to have your yellow molds. You're going to have your gelatinous cubes.
Yep.
Okay.
And when I was looking up Underdark stuff, it kept coming up, the gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a gelatinous cube?
I have.
As written, like where they're invisible?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That just seems mean. It feels mean.
It is. But yeah, it happens. It's just one of the things you want. I mean, those were in the basic red book, basic D&D books, as one of the earlier creatures too, is your gelatinous cube. So, yeah, of course you use it. Now, the other hazard you have to deal with is just being able to go and spelunking. Okay? Climbing up and down. Do you have enough rope? Do you have where you need to go to traverse? Do you have ways to get around and traveling? This is going to be a challenge sometimes. So you can kind of make it easier on your players and not have to worry about as much, or you can kind of make it really interesting in some places. Have them do that. Because I don't know if you've watched some of the videos that I have too, where they're talking about Mammoth Cave all the time, but they're still exploring a lot of that cave. Because they're saying that cave goes everywhere from all the way Arkansas, all the way up to like Pittsburgh. Huge area. So, and you see these people that they're crawling through spaces only maybe like a foot tall, half of it's filled with water, and barely have their head above there, crawling through with cameras just trying to figure out where these spaces go.
At least someone's willing to do it, because it ain't me.
The thing. I mean, I don't mind going through the caves, but there is a point where it's going to become claustrophobic.
Well, it's, the parts of the caves you go through are the parts that have been, very, like, saturated, and, like, there's a lot of people that have been there.
Yes.
It's set up for you to have a comfortable time to be in those caves.
Exactly. But some of these other areas that you see on some of these shows, it's just like, wow, I'm just going to climb down into a dark room, not knowing what's underneath there.
Yeah, and like, not for me. No, thank you.
So, but talking about that, what we're talking about is cramped spaces.
Yep.
One of the biggest fear would be underground, all of a sudden you're stuck.
Yep.
That would suck.
Absolutely.
Okay. The other thing you're going to do, I mean, you got your spelunking where you're going down, you got your climbing where you're going up, but just sense of direction.
Yep.
Okay.
You don't know what's anywhere.
Yeah, north, south, east, west is just going. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you got a real good sense and roll a very high perception, you can't really tell if you're actually going up or down. Sometimes the level of the land could only be like a 1 degree for every 100, 200 feet. You couldn't perceive that normally, but then all of a sudden you find yourself hundreds of feet down at the ground, or thousands, or whatever you want to.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. And then your direction could be a small enough curve that you think it's straight, but it's not.
Yeah.
So you get lost really, really easy. So, and then the other thing is, hazards, is the farther you're down, the less access you have. Okay? You don't have access to the surface to get there, get fresh air, get help, get anything like that. You are on your own, period.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's just some of the basic fears that you're doing there.
Because, you'd have to come across a friendly face down there in order to get some rest, to get like an inn or like a trading person. But like those kinds of things, like we described, everything wants to kill you.
It is, and we can go ahead because it's just talking about when you're traveling down there, and say you're down there for days, weeks, and even months on end, just resting and trading for supplies. Okay, basically if you're traveling down there for months, you're not connected to the surface world anyway, so you can't just blindly plop back up to the surface and conduct your routine business, everything like that too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that hinder that. Even if you have like teleport spells, there's a lot of hindrance to those things. Okay? So, yeah, so you're going to have to really figure out friend, or actually not really friend, but foe and lesser foe, and be able to know how to successfully engage with some of the Underdark's civilized enclaves.
Absolutely.
And that could turn out to be really, really bad depending on what you're doing. So, yeah, that's not good at all. And speaking of some things that can actually keep you away from that, because the Underdark too is also full of magic. Okay? We are in a fantasy world. And that's kind of going to hinder you from just kind of teleporting all around. Okay? Because we could talk about just traveling. Just going from one place to another. You could just be long walks.
Yep.
And talking about distance, technically you do a hex crawl, and you can do a hex crawl for days if you want to, but just imagine going through the underground, trying to make your way through caves and do kind of a cave hex crawl the same way.
You could walk 500 miles, and you could walk 500 miles more before you find anything else.
I thought you were going to sing for a second. I really did.
No, nah.
Okay. I really thought you were going to sing there. But now. Oh. Now, you can find, depending on how you're doing, there's caravan routes, okay? Because you're going to have some of these cities that's going to have to be able to take goods up to the surface to trade, okay?
Absolutely.
Now, are they going to be something that you just want to walk on and talk to all the travelers? Probably not. So if you have like a drow group that is traveling up to the surface and trade for, let's say, slaves and food, do you really want to come across them and say, hey, can we hop a ride too? No, because you end up being slaves with them really fast. So
you'd end up being the merchandise.
Yes, exactly. Now, some of the best ways of traveling to different areas of the Underdark, okay, especially when they are populated an area, it's going to be portals. Okay? A lot of these races who have carved out caves in the Underdark, because in the fantasy world, it's been around for thousands upon tens of thousands of years. You have creatures and stuff that burrow. You have magical creatures, Avalons, that make their homes, that have slaves that's carved out areas. So there's a lot of places that's been man-made and carved out in the Underdark.
Yeah.
Okay? And because of that, they actually have set up portals. Okay? And then if you have like a portal location, like a standard portal, okay, those are usually guarded. Okay? And what I mean by that, okay, let's say that we are going to the so-called friendly Duergar city. Okay? To get there, you got to take one portal, and that's going to take you near a drow city. Then from there, you got to traverse, say, 3 hex grids over to another portal that's going to take you to a southern area that you have to traverse another 5 hex grids to You get to a portal that's going to take you to the city that you want to go. Because you're not going to have like direct paths. And a lot of these portals that don't take you to different areas, just because they have been made magically, they're going to be usually guarded. Or if it is a somewhat friendly area or where you've made some kind of relationship with, it's going to have a cost. Okay? Might not know exactly what's on the other end. But yeah, that's going to be your main mode of travel back and forth on that too. So, and plus too, when you reach some of these other groups and cities and everything like that, you're going to have high-level wizards, sorcerers, okay, diviners, that can take you and open up portals and stuff for you too. So that's makes things a lot easier than kind of walking all over the place. Okay.
Absolutely. Especially for a higher level party that isn't, too concerned with the day-to-day travels.
Right.
It can be a streamlining of events to make things a little easier.
Yes.
If you're not, because once you get to a certain level and the dangers of the Underdark are no longer threatening, then it's just tedium,
Yeah. But that's the trick. You might think you are a high enough level to have no Underdark threats, but especially when you get down to the lower dark, you have your threats. So never feel safe. Your life could be a lot easier, but yeah, don't feel safe. So, and besides just like your standard portals that we're talking about, you can find other portables that are just impassable, okay? And they give you kind of like a picture into the window as like a window to another area.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have portals that has been magically created, and these are basically for non-living goods, for trade back and forth, different areas.
Yep.
Okay. Now, here's a pain in the butt one is you can have transparent portals. Okay. Where you're walking down a cave and all of a sudden you walk through the cave and all of a sudden you're like, how are we already to the city? Well, you went through a portal and you just didn't know it.
Yep.
That connected two areas. So, or you can have weird random magic.
Yep.
Because magic is kind of funny in the Underdark. And you can just have something randomly appear. It could be a portal that's trying to take you someplace, or a portal that's just trying to dump something right there at you.
Yep. You could have random magic. It could be a potted plant, a whale, and what was the third thing?
What was the third thing? Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. But yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember the third thing was.
I can't either. But yeah, I mean, there's ways of getting around and traveling kind of make things easy. But yeah, when you're talking about magic, you're going to have very much a lot of wild magic down the Underdark, okay? Yeah. And some of these are just magical areas from creation of the world itself, and you're going to have a lot of things called earth nodes, okay? Okay.
I see this in the notes. I was going to ask you about it because I don't know what this is.
Okay. Basically, an earth node. Basically, it is a area of condensed magic, okay? That, like, for example, when you get closer to it, it actually grants you higher levels of magic. All magic users can gain from it. Like, for example, if it's like a level 2 node, okay? And you are within the radius of this node, when you cast a spell, you actually able to cast it at a +2. Okay? Or if it's level 5, you can cast it at a +5 for whatever you want to, or 5 levels higher, depending on how you wanted to describe it. Okay?
Yeah.
And also some of the nodes, too, depending on the magic and what they're created from and whatnot, they can actually give you bonus spells that will not actually take up a spell slot. Okay? So you can actually use these to help cast and add to your full spell repertoire.
This immediately, like, my brain spun off and I thought about this, like, if you have such a powerful node of magic on the underground, above ground would probably be, like, a place of power, like, and that would be like where you would have your confluence, where you would have like ley lines, between these like nodes and areas, and it would be like sort of like a magical magnetic field for the world or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, you and your conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
Yeah, and then you'd have your Aztec temple on top of that one, and then you'd have on top of another one you'd have your pyramids, and on top of the other one you'd have your Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And then on another one you'd have your Statue of Liberty,
Yeah, exactly. Because that's how it works. But no, but in the fantasy game, you can completely do that. Okay? And a lot of the nodes from the way I've actually saw that, because when you're getting into the Underdark and stuff like that, and you have influence from other planes of existence, that's where the power from them leak into the actual Earth nodes. So that's kind of the way I actually see it. But you can have it any way that you want to. So that makes a big difference. Now, the nice thing and what's interesting is a lot of these Earth nodes, they are sought after, they are protected.
Yeah.
They are built around, so you're going to get a lot of cities that are built around certain things. Okay,
Yeah.
And let's talk about another one, and this is a Forgotten Realms. At least I believe this is a Forgotten Realms specific. Let's talk about the Pharisness.
Okay. Yeah.
And I am not even pronouncing that correctly.
Bearsris.
Yes.
That's my try. That's my attempt.
Okay. But basically, what this is in the Forgotten Realms, this is a magical radiation that's only found in the Underdark, a remnant of high magic that held shape in the Underdark. That helped shape the Underdark itself. And it interferes with casting a teleportation and divination spells. Okay. Now, this right here, the Pharisness, is actually a drow word. Okay, and these are sought after. When you see some of the big cities, these are all built around areas of Pharisness. Okay. That way they can't be spied upon. They can't be teleported in and out of and everything like that. This is a protection for their race and their actual city.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, there are wild areas of this around. Okay. But the big draws, they're all coveted by different groups.
Yeah.
Okay. Drow specifically. Okay. But yeah. Okay, here we go. I forgot I even added this in here. Now, the word Pharisness is composed of Phara, which is magic, okay, and Zeres, the hold to hold or dominance. Or
to
Zeres.
hold dominance or to remain in force.
Exactly. See, you can read my notes better than I can, okay? Which together mean magic that remains, okay? However, the original term had fear and Zeres inverted, which rendered the term as dominating magic.
Okay.
So that's kind of the history of the Forgotten Realms of what that word actually stands for.
Okay.
Yeah, so... yeah, very, very kind of cool feature. And that's another thing that kind of inhibits travel or wild travel, or some of your magic users being able to go and around the area and whatnot. So, yeah, very, very cool on that aspect.
It's definitely, and it's definitely an example of the kind of shenanigans you can get up to in the Underdark, where things are a little bit more weird.
Yes. Things are as weird as you want to actually make them in the Underdark, which is really nice.
Absolutely.
I know we kind of touched base on a lot of different features of the Underdark. We really didn't get into, besides features, the other thing that we really didn't get into is going to be the inhabitants of the Underdark. So what we're going to do just from time, because this would be a long, long episode, is I think we're going to go ahead and split this one into a couple episodes.
Yep.
2, maybe 3. We'll see how long we go, because we've got a lot of specifics with creatures, civilizations, and everything else that way. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So give it.
Let's see. Hold up. Let me do a quick count here. 1, 2,
8.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Yeah, 32 creatures to talk about.
Yes. So that's going to take
Hell,
some time.
That might be a 3-parter in itself.
But yes, the Underdark is fun. So we're going to talk about creatures. We're going to talk about their environments, and then we're also going to talk about ways you can interact with them. So very, very
Sounds
cool.
good.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start that in another episode. But with that, I think we are ready for our encounter corner.
Our encounter corner ready to go.
There we go.
All right.
Awesome. So
And it was my week to do it.
okay.
And I cheated.
Fine.
So mine was N. So the name of my thing that starts with an N is the Knights of Kadarian.
The
Name subject to
Knights.
change.
The
Knights,
Knights.
yes.
The Knights. Great.
Yeah, but it's silent, so it starts with an N.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So let me. Do you want me to tell you how I came to this, or do you want me to tell you what this is about?
This is your section, so you take lead.
All right. So, I was thinking about, how from the Underdark you have a lot of drow raiding parties, and they all talk about how a lot of times races and creatures from the Underdark will come up a lot to raid the surface world.
Right.
And if that's such a big problem, right, you would pretty easily be able to track down where they're coming from, and you can set up camps and stuff to try to keep them out, right?
Okay.
Or defensive positions, build the wall, all that stuff, to keep the denizens of the Underdark out.
Yes, got to build that wall.
Build the wall and make the drow pay for it.
Okay.
So, how I got to the name of Kadarian, right, is it's actually I was just fucking with the word Cadian, because in 40k you have your warp where all the demons come from.
Uh-huh.
And for the longest time, we're not going to get into big lore, but there, for the longest time, there was a spot in the galaxy called the Eye of Terror, where you had all the demons come out of. It was a big hole that they could all come out of.
Okay.
And you had the planet of Cadia, that was the gate for the Imperium to defend against whatever came out of the Eye.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I got the name, the Knights of, and you gotta change it for copyright reasons. So
Yes.
that's where you get the Knights of Kadarian. Right?
Yes. Where the K is silent.
Not glued to the name. Yeah, where the K is silent. The Knights of Adarian.
Yes.
So this is a group of knights who have vowed and sworn to protect people from things from the Underdark, and they are set up at known exits of the Underdark in order to defend from whatever comes out of those. So there's a bit of a cat and mouse game between those in the Underdark, like the drow, who want to come out and raid and pillage,
right,
and anything else, and these knights who and they're always trying to find new exits from the Underdark, tunnel their own, and find ways around these guys, and they're always trying to find out where they're coming from, right? Now, the other thing is that if you think that these knights are prone to being racist against Underdark creatures and things, right? So if you have anyone who wants to be a trader, any good-natured folk who just happen to be from the Underdark, they might run into issues when they come across these guys.
Okay, yeah.
So, also people, good-natured folk who'd want to not have that happen are the people on the surface who want to have, relations with those civilizations underground. You have some politicians.
Right.
You might have the Adventurers Guild who want to go down there to reverse pillage, and you have maybe like your Merchants Guild who want to do trading as well.
Right. So is this going to be more of an unsanctioned group?
I think it would be, yeah. I think it would definitely be more probably unsanctioned because you are just it's still right. You can't deny that this is a problem. It's in the books. It's always talked about how they'll have drow raiding parties and stuff. So
Right.
It is something that should be stood up as a defense instead of just being helplessly attacked and you can't do anything about it. This is something that's going to pop up in your grassroots movements probably to defend. If not, you have certain factions within a government to hold up a militia there in order to defend.
Okay.
So you can definitely this has it's flexible enough to be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, pretty much. So you can have this as just an opposing party regardless.
Yeah.
Now, would this party, and I'm just trying to say some of the things, could say Trader A go to the party somehow and say, hey, I need to trade this for this, and I'm going to be meeting this here with these people. Is that something that they will go, okay, that's not a problem, or they're going to say, no, forget it?
I think you could play that however you want. Maybe, there might have to be a bribe involved, or you could have like a hard ass who thinks that somebody who's going to be more difficult, who thinks that anyone from the Underdark is dangerous.
Yeah.
And so you could play it however you want. It's very flexible. And, just like certain in any group of people, even in real life, you're going to have some people who are more hardline, some people who are more looser, who will, be more able to bend the rules.
Right. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, that was just a little faction I thought of while we were doing this.
Okay, yeah, that actually is really decent and kind of running around because that faction could be opposing Underdark, which is good because they could be fan of townspeople and stuff like that, but also because they're not sanctioned could also be enemy of the state because they're hindering other things that are going on. So
absolutely,
6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay, that works. We have another creature corner complete.
Woohoo!
Yes. So, okay. Well, with that, I think this would be the end of this one. And then we'll have another episode where we're going to talk about the denizens of the Underdark. And
the things, the creepies and the crawlies.
Yes.
And the slimies and the other word that starts with S.
Which is?
I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. That's why I said that.
Slimies and sludgies.
Sludgies, yes. Sludgies.
Yes. Not the
Isn't that what you get at Target?
The sludgies?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
The slushies.
The slushies, yes. Okay. But, okay. So, with that, do you got anything else you want to add at all, or?
No, I don't have any pluggables to plug. But, speaking of plugs, where was I going with that? Yes. So normally when you want plants, when you want certain kinds of plants, you find a plug to deal you those plants. Now, it's not called a plug if what the plants you want are legal. So if I wanted a plug for legal plants that would make me feel different, where would I go?
I'm going to assume that you are looking for a capsaicin high.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Nothing makes you feel more alive than when you're almost dying because it's so hot.
I was trying to figure out where you're going to go with that whole thing. I was like... Okay.
I was also trying to figure out where I was going with that thing.
So, let's sum it up. If you are interested in all things spicy, hot peppers, seeing people eat hot spicy peppers, know about different hot spicy peppers, sauces, whatnot, I have another channel that on YouTube is called 13 Peppers. I've had that for going on 3 years now, so
Woo!
Lots of different videos there. You can get your heat loving on and laugh at me about crying and dying and laugh at him for throwing up.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, if you have any kind of love or like or interest in hot peppers, go to 13 Peppers and you can find me there. Besides that, if you want to actually get a hold of us for this podcast or anything else, in the description will be our link tree, and that right there gets you to emails and everything else that you can leave us a message. Let us know what you think, any comments, concerns, loves, likes, hatreds, or about my bad writing or talking or anything else.
You can, any hate mail that you have for us can be written out in letter form and sent to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Ah, okay. There we go. Love keeping this non-political. That works. And then I'm going to be surprised at how many people may not know that address. I work with people in a very tech company that probably couldn't tell you what that address is.
Yeah, well.
Hey, oh well.
Look it up.
So, okay, but with that, I think that's going to be it for this podcast here. My name is Ralph. I am Nerd.
I'm Connor. I'm Son.
All right.
And with that, you have a wonderful day.
See you.
Bye.